Hello, dear ones. Today I'm talking again about living in spiritual community. And these principles apply even if you don't live in a spiritual community yourself, but they apply in spiritualizing all of your relationships and how you relate to other people in your workplace, in your family. So think of those other relationships as you're listening to these words about spiritual community, because it's a way of spiritualizing wherever you are. Yogananda made a point of saying that environment is stronger than willpower. And so the reason that spiritual communities exist is so that one's entire life is structured around spiritual principles. Yogananda encouraged people to pool their resources, buy land in the country, and have schools, place of worship, social interaction, and your home all in one place. And we have really benefited by living in spiritual community during this time of the pandemic. We've put extremely few miles on our cars, for one thing. We just haven't been going very many places. We hardly ever even go to the grocery store. And many of our friends live here in the community, so we have interaction with people who are socially distancing and wearing masks. We are able to walk to the church where we give Sunday service each week. All of these things are very, very helpful, especially during troubled times, like the times that we are living in now. And so having that environment strong is very important. Now, if you don't live in a spiritual community at the moment, think about having an environment in which you don't have to commute very far to work, your friends are nearby, the amenities that you frequent are close to you. It's a tremendous gift not to have a long commute or have to travel very far to see people who are dear to you. So, as far as a spiritual community goes, Swami encouraged people who love God to live together because it's tremendously supportive to have people understand where you are coming from when you talk about karma or reincarnation or chanting or Kriya Yoga or loving God, devotion, all of those things. People need support. And the Bhagavad Gita says it perfectly when it says, this is the Lord speaking, my devotees enlightening one another are ever contented and joyful. And so what people do in spiritual community is try to remind each other of the highest good. When things are tough, they try to remind each other that God has a plan. When there is contention, when people don't agree, and remember, wherever there are people, there is disagreement. No one thinks exactly the same as anyone else. There's bound to be differences. It's part of human nature. But what you do with those differences is what makes all the difference. And so what devotees do is they try to understand the other person's point of view, and they try to see a bigger picture, take in a broader perspective, and realize that things are just not that important. What is most important is harmony. And so devotees strive for harmony. They try to have a sense of humor about their own set ideas. They try to relax those ideas and give room to other people's points of view. In this way, the environment supports them because there are other ministers living here, there's other longtime devotees, and these people live that truth of trying to give energy to each other and not draw on the differences and make those the paramount issue in any relationship. It's important to have uplifting surroundings, no matter where you are, living in spiritual community or not. Do whatever you can to make your environment conducive to inner peace. There was a monk who visited Ananda village way back in the early 70s or the late 60s. And at that time, Ananda was very, very new, and it was physically pretty much of a mess. The main community area had been a pig farm, and so there was a lot of trash around, buildings that were falling apart. It was derelict, shall we say, rustic conditions. And this monk was visiting the gardens, having a tour, and he spotted a rusty watering can. And he made a point of saying to the tour guides who were with him, it would be best if you took that watering can and scrubbed the rust off of it and painted it, and then keep it inside where it doesn't get rusty again. It was just one small little thing, but that principle is very true for everything in our lives. The more we can reduce clutter in our homes, the more our mental landscape will be free. These are subtle energies, but they are very important. And so consider your environment. It has more impact on you than you may realize. Keeping a meditation space that is dedicated is very important to allowing yourself to relax and expand your consciousness as you're meditating. You don't want to use your meditation room as a storage area, for example, just as you don't want to, according to feng shui principles, use under your bed as a storage area, even though it would just be such a great place to stash things. But it is said in feng shui that you won't sleep as well if you have clutter under your bed or if you have clutter in your attic. You won't meditate as well. So these are points to remember when thinking about environment being stronger than willpower. Try to make your environment as sattvic as possible. And that's what we try to do in our Ananda community. We have a wonderful community manager and a volunteer staff of gardeners who make magic in our community. And it's tremendously uplifting to feel the energy that goes into keeping the lawns mowed, keeping the place weeded and trimmed and planted with beautiful flowers. It's heartening to the soul. It relaxes the body and the mind and brings more spiritual energy into the community. And so you can practice this wherever you are. Clean up the yard, front yard, backyard, garage, everything. Keep things simple, clean, and beautiful. And in that way, you will find that deeper upliftment, almost on a cellular level, that can subtly change your consciousness.